Hitler and what was going on, were you all sitting around listening by a radio in your living room? Or?
Oh, you had a little tiny thing, I forgot what you even call it, with a little diamond or something on it, and you couldn't hear it. In fact, in that day, we never had telephones, we had never electricity, or anything. So what we had to do was have an old battery, to try to hear them. It's different than it is today. Man, today we hear the second it happens, right on our television. What a difference. I don't know if it's all good, I don't, We thought we were getting along pretty good way back then before we had it all. But
so when this news came, did your mom and dad, did they talk about it with you kids, or did they?
My dad really never talked about it. He heard it and all, and he was in only one thing, and that's a Bible. The only thing I remember of my dad, sitting in a chair, reading his Bible, or getting ready to go somewhere. I never heard my dad ever be impatient. Can you believe that? I'm like my mother, a bargain. Altogether. Two different personalities. My mother, she was bored with Dad's patience. But, that wasn't all bad anyway.
Yeah. They complimented each other, huh?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Do you remember, did people in the community talk about what was happening in Europe? Or not really? Do you remember people saying, "Why, that's
No, they didn't.
too bad about what invading Poland or that"?
No, we did. We kids did as a family. We talked about it and wondered, but really didn't know what was all going to happen. Even though we heard the news, but we were so far from Europe, so far from those things that were happening that we were kind of isolated. So,
when you were drafted, did Emma or Elseda or any of them, did they say, "No, Gilbert, you can't go"? Or?
Oh, they thought I was going to the end of the world. Even Emma. Yeah, they lived in Wyndham, and Esther Bargan took me to the train in Wyndham where I left. And, I thought, well, that was just, we weren't in a war yet. We hadn't declared war. So it was just for 1 year. I thought 1 year wasn't bad. I could handle that, But back of my mind, I wondered about that 1 year. But because of the things that were going on in the world, old Hitler took a lot of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's right then is when you started your deep interest in current affairs and politics?
Yeah.
When do you think you got that itch for?
For some reason, I don't know where it came from, I was always interested in current affairs and patriotism type thing. And that was always, I guess I don't know. That's the thing that I was interested so much in being. So, and I figured, man, I'm going to the Army now. What kind of a witness can I be? And of course, I thought of that for God and country. That's the American Legion logo or whatever. And I said, well, I'll go work at it anyway, see what I can do, And I was just I wasn't a kid anymore, I was 21. I was getting pretty old. I should have known, And and my uncle said, well, if you go for 1 year, you come back and you got the shop. He liked me. Uncle he told the other guys off that worked for him, but he never, ever told me off, ever. Well, I could kind of do what I wanted to do. And he said, when you come back, you take the shop, you take it over. So I thought for sure that was my future, because I'd already began practicing, and I'd worked for about 3 years now, full time, making a lot of money for them. Yeah. So I got in, and first thing we did, we went up to Nome, Alaska, brand new place, a new theater of operations. There wasn't any military base. There wasn't anything up there. This was brand new because it was going to be the last stopping off place from Nome to Siberia over Russia. All our Lend-Lease planes that we gave them, you know, that they never paid for, as of today even. They were Lend-Lease, were to be paid for. Never did. Never did. So I was up there, and we lived in tents because we got there in the summertime. It was 70 degrees, 72 degrees. And when it's 72 degrees, all of Nome is built on a glacier. So you don't need rain from above. When it's warm enough, the water comes up from the bottom, from that glacier. And that's why we had rain. Things like that. But of course, I didn't know what was going on. You know, this is brand new for me. How did I know? But what can I do? I thought, well, I want my trombone up there. And of course, you know the story of my trombone.
Well, you better tell it.
Tell the story.
Yeah, I asked our commander, I said, could I take my trombone along? He said, I don't know how you can because we're flying up there. It's very limited, so I think it'd be impossible. So, you know, but I said, hey, maybe, I don't know what's up at Nome. I don't know what about the Army. You know, never been that big a part of it or what's going to happen. But it seems to me that I could use a trombone up there. So I built a box. And, you know, I hope the Lord forgives me for this and the taxpayers. I built a box. I put the trombone in the box. I forgot the case. And I nailed it shut that night, and I wrote on there, Battalion Motor Pool, you know, copper tubing. That wasn't true, was it? But you know,
It was true.
yeah, but you know, it got all the way up there, and the box came, it came up there, I intercepted it, and opened it up, and you should see the guys look, my trombone. And I used it in the Eskimo church. I would go to the Eskimo church over there. They were afraid of us, the Eskimos.
Oh, really?
Military were very afraid of us. In fact, you couldn't take a picture of them. They would run. They were so scared. But finally, here was a soldier, you know, dressed in my uniform. Boy, I mean, I had it creased up, and I had my shoes polished and everything, and I went to the church over there because I was interested in missions and that type. I'd been in the Alliance Church, where they say, go into all the world and preach the gospel, you know, the Great Commission. So